that will be coming from Gabriel Asuquo, Achievers University, Nigeria, on the topic, Ibuanyidanda and the Ethics of Coexistence, a Phenomenological Approach to Sustainable Peace. Is Gabriel there?
Yeah, Gabriel is here.
All right, please. You can take on from here. And let me just mention, I would like to show you this when your time is up. I will show you this when your time is up.
Okay. I'm trying to share my slide. I don't know whether it's shared.
Not yet, please.
Is it shared?
Not here from my view. I don't know if anyone can see anything.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and to share my thoughts with you. My name is Gabriel Asuquo. I bring greetings from Achievers University in Nigeria. Today, I want us to think deeply about the whole question of peace. And the central idea of my paper is that peace is not just the absence of conflict, but it is a condition of flourishing relationships that is rooted in mutual recognition and acceptance, which speaks to the idea of positive peace and which I recoin in this paper as sustainable peace.
Okay, please, sorry to cut in. Can you turn on your video, please?
Okay. The video is on.
Yes, we can see you now.
You can see me, Abby?
Yes.
Okay. For my little tech, because of my disability. So the question of peace, as I was saying, is because of the existential question, which Professor highlighted some of them in his presentation. Africa is facing a very deep question of how to manage diversities. The question is, how can we live together in dignity amidst our diversity and differences? Yes, how we Professor brought his own talking about vocalization and all that. So that is the question that is facing Africa today, and that is what I want to do with this context paper. I want to contextualize the whole discourse around the African exercise of coexistence, which today refers in issues around harm, conflicts. You can see it as terrorism, insurgency, ethnic militia, and marauders, destroying lives and property. You can also see that is the crisis of coexistence around the question of political instability that is reflected coup, d'etat, and counter-coup and authoritarianism. Also see that religious crisis and the whole humanitarian disasters it has created. And now we have seen how effort is being made to keep peace, and we have found out that the efforts that are made are most externally driven. And that is why you see from Sudan to Nigeria, from Ethiopia to Democratic Republic of peace constantly under threat because of this crisis. So what is missing is not just Africa having fire or the whole question of development. For my own conviction, I think what is missing is an ethical framework of coexistence, which is rooted in and that is what this paper seeks to do. So why do we have a different way of looking at this problem? Because number one is because the mainstream peace building effort relies so much on Western norms of individualism, autonomy, and the rest, which often neglect indigenous knowledge systems, and as such does not give account of the complexities of the African experience. Professor Una has given some of the complexities. I don't need to repeat myself. And that is why a phenomenological approach becomes apt. We need to start the lived experience of the Africans, the meaning they create out of this experience, especially the cultural meaning they create out of this experience. And that is why this new way of interpreting or understanding the problem will allow us to understand that Africa understand themselves, how they conceive peace and conflict. That is what it is. And that is why we're introducing Ibuanyidanda philosophy. Another philosophy was developed by a Nigerian philosopher, Innocent Asuquo. Conceptually, what Ibuanyidanda is a coinage from three Igbo words, which in Ibu, which is load, which means tomato, and Danda, which is special ant. So in literary sense, you can say Ibuanyidanda means no act is insurmountable for that is plans if they work together in complementation of their efforts. So the kind of Ibuanyidanda led to this. The core idea of Ibuanyidanda is complementarity, progressive transformation. Everything is a missing link of reality. Basically, what Asuquo is that reality interconnected, interdependent, and it lives in synergistic manner. And that means that our actions, it may be actions as individuals must consider the place of the other in our calculation, which is not negotiated, but it is built by recognizing each other's value. And that is what the idea of the ethics coexistence speaks of. The ethics of coexistence becomes very because of tension in which is natural to any pluralistic society. What Professor Jimona highlighted, the natural tensions arise from pluralistic society. The Ibuanyidanda sees on as a core to deepen complementarity, a call to build holistic relations, and a call for mutual adoption that can lead to progressive transformation that, in the word of Asuquo, can lead us to joy of being. So the ethics of coexistence, therefore, becomes a kind of a cultivation of a kind of a mindset that prioritizes humility, that prioritizes values like dialogue, values like interdependency, values like mutual respect, and values like empathy. Therefore, what of coexistence is saying is that we should be beyond just tolerance to more equal commitment to the other. Therefore, it's both a philosophical shift, a logical shift, and a practical shift. This shift becomes very important because of the shortfall in peace building efforts around. Professor Odna talks about the state-centric models which we have been using to solve this problem, and it has not been working because the model itself is fragile and it has not been the. Number two, peace agreement lacks cultural legitimacy. They are all mostly from top to bottom. Somebody's externally to what to do, whether you call it an amorphous United Nation or whatever, telling us what to do. And therefore, it aligns the relational dynamic in local context. And that is one of the problems. So the failure of peace in many African contexts due to the disconnection of the lived values of African people. And the comparative work offers a bottom, which is relationally attuned, alternative because it is homegrown and is that consigns African social problems. Furthermore, Ibuanyidanda is a framework of sustainable peace. First of all, recognizes plurality and interdependence. Yes, we recognize plurality, but this plurality cannot exist in isolation. they must exist interdependently with others. And also it values harmony without erasing differences. Yes, the differences is there, the terms of this is there, but can we harmonize differences? That's the step forward. And it also encourages shared responsibility for peace, and it is grounded in African ontological realities. Ibuanyidanda as a framework, as conceptualized by Professor Innocent Suzu, his book Ibuanyidanda, The New Phenomenology, and some of his publications, which are used as for textual analysis to deal the principles that can facilitate sustainable peace. So it therefore means that sustainable peace or peace should not be something that moves from bottom to the top, whereby it involves everybody from the local context to the national, to the subnational context, the national context, and to the continental context. So it is that is possible. Although it is not just an idealism, it calls for a kind of a mental recalibration, as Professor Una would say, by we tend to see how we can embody these within local context, because the issues themselves are locally driven. They're enforcing, and that is where Ibuanyidanda comes speak. So, what are therefore the philosophical implications of this? Number one, the Ibuanyidanda framework for sustainable peace is a kind of alternative to traditional Western individualism, and so it seeks to replace the binary logic of that is characterized on logical system, and it brings the idea of African logic, which people like Jonathan Chimakona are championing around logic, which talks about the logic of inclusivity, the logic of inclusivity, not necessarily the logic of opposition, and therefore African relationology, which is a part of it, affirms that is true relational approach we can be able at peace. So for philosophically speaking, we are dealing with a kind of logical commitment here, which means that our politics, our economics, our peace building, if they are on a wrong physical foundation, they will always produce shallow results. It is those shallow results that is symptomatic of some of the issues discussing. So therefore, it's time to not necessarily resurrect traditional African thought system, but a kind of critiquing some of the material some of the resources, intellectual and cultural resources in Africa, to see how we can distill ideas to manage the current situation in Africa. And that is what Ibuanyidanda seeks to do. So paper is still ongoing paper, and we'll see developing the ideas. So therefore, in conclusion, what I'm trying to emphasize is that Africa needs not just peace talks, but Africa needs philosophies of, and Ibuanyidanda provided that framework to think solutions and not in exclusivist text. And therefore, Ibuanyidanda offers a homegrown phenomenological grounded approach, which now provides the intellectual material for the ethics of coexistence, which can influence future policies, which can influence inclusive institutions and leadership, and also we can influence our educational system to be inclusive, to promote dialogue and conversation. I think some of the points as we raised by the keynote presenter, so has a connection to my paper. So what I'm trying to affirm is that if Africa want to build sustainability amidst the quagmire we are facing in the continent, we need to give our own group approach, and Ibuanyidanda presents that, and therefore we don't need to borrow others from outside, understand our own realities. We need to peace from inside by the wisdoms that existed in African. system. And Ibuanyidanda provided that alternative, and it is a useful framework for sustainable peace in Africa. I think I should end the presentation here, and I'll get a question later.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asuquo. And I hope that our colleagues are putting their questions together as we take the last phase of this talk.